Welcome to Venus Blueprint Astrology, where we explore the secret wisdom of the sacred feminine as the much needed medicine the world needs at this time. I'm Alicia Love, and this is my Mage sister, Stella Ray. And today we're going to walk you through some of the big energies from the full moon in Sagittarius leading up to the Venus Cazimi on June 4th. Our three themes we think are most important to attune to include the Venus underworld journey that we're in right now, the patience needed to understand this embodied feminine wisdom that we've been awakening through our bodies, and how to live these energies in a playful, lighthearted Gemini way. We're highlighting Venus, bringing the feminine consciousness to the forefront to support a much needed rebalancing between the feminine and the masculine. We'd love for you to join us on our virtual circle on June 5th, just before the Gemini New Moon, where we will create sacred space for women to come together, support, and witness each other in the sisterhood of feminine spirituality.
Yes, thank you. And we are part of bringing this third wave of feminism to this planet. And this has to do with recovering the sacred dimension within all of life. We believe that women need new female rites of passage to bring us together at this time for this purpose. That the recovery of the sacred feminine is something that we cannot do alone. So as always, we value your support, your comments. We'd love to hear your personal experience of these energies. We'd love to hear if you are feeling the call to define these new female rites of passage for ourselves. And if you feel called to join us in Circle, there's a link below to register for our next upcoming Circle on June 5th. And your first Circle with us is free. So, all right. So we're ready to dive in because Venus is still in the underworld now. So as we are tuning into where we find ourselves on that journey, we're looking at the qualities of how we are feeling in that underworld expression. I thought it would be nice to talk about Venus as a morning star in general. So meaning the journey that we've been on for the last 8-9 months, as Venus has been in this classic descent journey. And we've been tracking and attuning. And even if you didn't know that Venus was in the morning star phase, perhaps you've been feeling this unveiling or this descent process happening within you. And Venus as a morning star has a really resonant quality, as we know, with Taurus. So Venus has a connection to Taurus and Libra. Taurus as a morning star in the phase of this descent, and then more resonance with Libra as an evening star, and that's where we're headed. So we're coming up to that other dimension. But for now, let's focus on the Taurus qualities of Venus as a morning star.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's do that.
Venus in Taurus she's so at home. She's been there now for 3 weeks. She entered the underworld in Aries and jumped right into Taurus like the next day or within a couple of days. So we've been cultivating all the beautiful aspects of Venus in her most exalted, receptive, beautiful state of being, where she is so embodied, and we are focused on our sensual pleasures, really epicurious, and understanding our gifts and what we value. And that Venus and Taurus energy, she helps us to know our worth. And we're going to feel this expansion when Jupiter and Venus come together. And, Venus and Taurus, she'll be at this very last degree and about to go into Gemini. The sun's already in Gemini. We've got all this movement towards Gemini, but we want to just like really relish and do exactly what Venus and Taurus would do, is like draw it out and make it the most luxurious energies that we can. This is Venus in the garden, where she's tending the soil and she's seeking intimacy with nature and with herself and with others. And she's just so rich in her pleasure and enjoyment, but she's also wise in moderation and when not to go into excess. She knows her limits. And maybe there's going to be something that comes up for us in these next few days around this full moon that will feel like an awareness of where to be firm around how much excess we, pleasure ourselves with, and how to hold the balance of that, moving through this underworld phase of what's really most important to us on the deepest levels.
Yes, yes, I love that. And what strikes me is that as Venus has moved into the underworld and she's unveiled, it's all about this becoming undefended and becoming vulnerable. And I find it so fascinating that in order to receive the most pleasure and to make our way into that garden of being where we're able to receive our value, we're able to receive pleasure, intimacy with ourselves, with others, with life, that it requires that we have done this work to take off the veils of what we think is important, or who we think that we are, or who we think that we should be, which is everything that we've been doing in this slow, steady descent process of unmasking, of facing and confronting the shadow material of our unworthiness and the places that we might not feel our own value, and begun to shed those layers so that we can arrive naked and undefended to life, and to be able to enjoy it. And
Yeah.
that is a gift and such a beautiful part of life, that the underworld, far from being a scary place, is inviting us into that capacity to enjoy life. Yes.
Yes. We
Yay.
love this underworld time.
We do.
It's a rich time to be so connected to the
Yeah.
self and feel held by this like
Yeah.
feminine, mothering, loving, like embrace of the underworld lessons and embodiment. So
Yes.
that
It's like
feels
where we
really good.
land. It's where we land. Yes.
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 Yay.
Amazing.
And that's going to feel so expansive with
Yeah.
Jupiter. Jupiter is the
Yes.
biggest planet. It's gaseous. It's
Yeah.
like just so much space in between, right? So all
Yes.
of this like yumminess we're talking about Venus is going to conjunct Jupiter and
Yeah.
create some really amazing new energies. So it's going to expand our feminine consciousness. It's going to expand how we express our femininity. It's going to expand our value. And it might be money coming to you or opportunities to achieve more success in those areas of your life. And that is going to include trusting that you're worth it. and
Yeah.
valuing yourself, right?
Yes. 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 100%. Yes. I love that. And it's in that 29 degrees. So it's like, where can we do that with mastery? Where can we do that all the way through? It's time, it's time that we fully reclaim that for ourselves, right? It's
Yes.
just, that's the invitation. So, yes.
I love it. That feels so good. So that gets us through this underworld understanding, this expansion, and what we're doing with, we didn't really talk about the full moon being in Sagittarius, which is shining and reflecting the sun in Gemini. And Venus and Jupiter are really close because this is happening 2 degrees Gemini and 29 degrees Taurus. We're just like less than 3 degrees apart. And so it's definitely conjunct. It's influencing the sun and what the sun is shining on the moon and how this energy is so dynamic. Gemini is curious and intellectual and playful and almost even a little devious, or I think of it's the twins, but I think of it as the multifaceted multi-twins, right? It's just like all these different energies, and you get all excited and talk about it because it's this air sign that brings all this levity and playfulness. And then the full moon in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius and Gemini are the most similar. They really both care about new knowledge and are curious and valuing wisdom and especially spiritual knowledge. This full moon in Sagittarius might bring that energy of some heightened awarenesses, some new understandings. And with the expansion we're feeling with Venus, it's probably a new understanding of your value and how that is really linked into your growth and who you are becoming. Because
Yeah.
if you don't value yourself now, who's going to value you if you don't value yourself? So it's those curious questions and asking us that very Gemini mindset for what's happening right now. And
Yeah.
Mercury, that's ruled by Gemini, is really dragging in those last energies of Taurus. And it's slowing us down because that mental realm can be so quick, but Mercury's still in Taurus. So that's teaching us some patience, going slow through this to not skip over and rush past some valuable information that might be key to your expansion.
Love how you said that. And it's true that there are these deep levels of our embodied wisdom that are foundational for where we're headed and are foundational for to make that shift into Gemini, where we're going to be creating a new story about ourselves and about, and we need that information fully rooted in our body of self-valuing, that Taurus sort of sure and steady footedness of just knowing who we are and what we value in our own self-worth foundation, so that we can step into a new story and ask new questions about what we're up to. And we're still in this Leo overstory,
Yeah.
which is, how are we being seen in the world? How are we stepping forward in a feminine, authentic spirituality? And so these are all like pieces of that puzzle.
Mhm.
And we're getting ready to make that fun, playful Gemini shift. But like you said, we're still gathering up. So what do we need to do with ourselves? We need to be patient and slow and compassionate
Mhm.
for the pieces of ourselves that might still feel behind or slow to articulate what the meaning of all of this is, what the story of the underworld has been for us, what new story is coming. Maybe we don't quite know yet.
Yeah, I keep getting these little revelations as I'm having conversations because it is that Gemini talking about it kind of way. that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really embodying this piece, becoming a key component to my story. And like this other part that I'm struggling with, I'm actually understanding more, talking about it and
Yeah.
working with it. And it's really all linked into this self-valuing and
Yeah.
trusting that I've got this
Yes.
and I am and we are. And I want to just shout it from the rooftops that like women are powerful. You
Yeah.
have so many gifts. And
Yeah.
if you value yourself, the people around you will value you
Yeah.
more when you value yourself. So that's a
Yeah.
huge lesson in this wisdom of the feminine is that you got to know that for yourself. And then the other
Mm.
thing with Gemini energy here and this being curious, and you're saying it too, like, let's be really focused on noticing.
Yes.
Note and through gratitude as a practice, noticing where your body feels good, noticing what that texture of that strawberry feels like and tastes like in your mouth, like just slowing down enough to notice and be curious. What does that really taste like? And
Yeah.
using those two energies together feels really good.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And what flashes in my mind is then the Sagittarius sort of mirror or resonant polarity of that. And in this full moon, it's like the vision. Like, what is the vision for our life that wants to come through? Yes. Like, what is that vision that ultimately we are setting our sights on? And what vision is wants to come in and ignite our life out of that curiosity, out of that noticing, all of those pieces. Sagittarius is really good at making those intuitive leaps into, wow, this is the vision. This is the meaning of my life. This is how it all fits together. And this is how I am going to proclaim this story.
I
So
love it.
great ingredients
Yeah.
for entering the underworld, being in the underworld, and getting ready for the ascent journey.
After this full moon in Sagittarius, Venus is going to move into Gemini.
Yes.
And we're going to have a whole shift in that Venus energy and how that feels. And like I said, Venus is this or Gemini is this multifaceted energy, but the biggest thing Venus in Gemini wants is freedom. She
Mhm.
needs that variety to play, and she's adaptable because she can do all these different facets of herself, and she wants to stay interested in all sorts of different creative projects and magic. And she just probably gets distracted a little bit because she's just like lifted
She's
and
having so much
outward.
fun.
Venus and Gemini energy is going to feel like the eternal youth, our
Yeah.
Tinkerbell, right?
Yeah.
And she really craves that diversity of different activities. So one of the things I heard recently was don't be hard on yourself if you start a project and don't finish it. Gemini season with the sun in Gemini and now Venus in Gemini, it's
Yeah.
going to be like all sorts of different kinds of conversations and all sorts of different little projects and exciting connections and I just think of it as like she dances through the elements in that
Yeah.
airy way.
Yeah. And it sounds exciting to take some of that deep embodied knowledge that we've been sort of gathering up inside of us in this instinctual kind of way, this very embodied, nonverbal, almost just a nonverbal kind of way, just beingness of that.
Yes.
And then find words for it. And I feel
Yeah,
like Gemini just wants to find the words to articulate all of that energy and bring it into being in a more intellectual, but also inspirational kind of way. So, yeah.
exactly. It's the exciting next step, right? We have Venus is going to conjunct the sun. She's going to kiss that Cazimi. That's what Cazimi means, right? The kiss of the sun. She's passing behind the sun, and that'll be June 4th, right before the new moon. And that's going to be new moon in Gemini. So we've got a good 2 weeks here to really be milking this goodness from that Taurus energy as Mercury moves all the way through the end of May. through Taurus, and then all of this Gemini curiosity and newness and excitement, and illumination with the sun, and like what's really coming through is going to
Yeah.
be so exciting and fun.
Yes. Yes. And we can't wait to gather with women to participate in, visioning, like what is it that we want to see happen as we move into the next phase of this journey together. Our intention is to really support and witness one another in that process and in that rite of passage journey that we get to take
Yeah.
when we choose to attune to Venus and what is going on in this cycle. So we can't wait to gather together and to
Yes.
be with one another in
That'll
this.
be our
Yeah.
circle on the 5th of June
Okay.
5th.
Yes.
Find us on Eventbrite. We've got the link below. And we also offer tarot and tea. Can't miss out talking about that. It's just a once a month fun way to trust your body and your inner oracle for what wisdom you're looking for. And we'll have that on June 3rd. It's always the first Monday of the month. And then June 4th is the Cazimi, June 5th is our circle, and June 6th is the new moon. So it's going to be
Beautiful.
so much fun, and we hope
Yeah.
to have you join us for some of that excitement and playfulness and deep embodied wisdom. Like, let's bring it all in.
Bring it all. Bring all the layers.
All
Yay.
right. Happy full moon.
Happy full moon.
Yes.
Mm.